This is Calvin Castine. It's July 24th, 2002. It's 9:06 a.m. on this Wednesday morning, and we're at the Clinton County Fair. We come here at least 2 days every year. This is the Wednesday of the fair, as we said, and it's the time for the 4-H Fitting Showmanship competition. They're getting started just about on time. Allison Blaine is going to be busily writing down some of the older age groups for us. Lawrence Bosley is on the PA system. The Beggs family is here to enjoy the competition. This should be Alex Lapierre. He's a first-year Clover Bud. Clover Buds are 5 to 8 years old. Alex Lapierre. At least that's what I think I've written down here. The judge is watching him intently. Now, he's supposed to be watching the judge too, you know, because he's got to get his instructions on what to do from the judge. But he's in the 5 to 8 year old range, out here for the first time, so he is learning on the job. Checking out his young Holstein heifer here. And he's getting a little help there from Mama and Papa. He's not supposed to be paying any attention to the people outside the the showroom here. Now, his father is judge, so he knows that. He has so much confidence that his son's going to shine here that he's even helping to distract him. Looks like he got up bright and early to wash his face, comb his hair, and brush his teeth this morning. Kind of taking it slow here. It's a pleasant day. It's in the 50s this morning when we woke up. So it may have reached 60 at this point, or it may not. It's a pleasant day. The judge is giving him some pointers, all of which I am sure he'll remember for at least 15 seconds. He's got a nice looking heifer. Look how good that heifer poses, that little calf poses there. He's got that calf well posed in my estimation. And of course the grandparents are interested too here in what's going on. Remind everyone viewing that this is a viewer-supported television, and the only way we pay our bills is if the viewers support us. So if you have reason to be watching this, then why not help support our efforts? PA system just doesn't seem to be blasting out much. You can hardly hear it. There's a blue ribbon.
Right. These are Clover Buds that I've shown before. Alex was his first year. So Megan Bold, Adriana Kucher, and Emily Lapierre in the ring.
Megan Bold, Adriana Kucher, Emily Lapierre, regular Clover Buds, experienced Clover Buds coming up. 3 young ladies out here. And I'm going to say that none of these are 5 years old.
Class is complete.
I would say none of these young ladies are 5 years old, because to be a Clover Bud, you've got to be in the 5 to 8 year old category. And since none of these are first year Clover Buds, that means they were in the 5 to 8 year old category at least a year ago. Otherwise, they would be in the first year category. So, actually, the experienced Clover Buds are 6 to 8 years old. I have no idea who is who out there, which is unfortunate. But I'm sure they know who they are. We will give you the names again in the order that they were read off. It's Megan Bull, Adriana Kuchar, and Emily Lapierre.
Our judges of the day is Frank Tuckman. He's been a Holstein breeder for many years. He had 22 excellent cows in his barn, of 50 some odd cows at one time. He's currently a CMAX sales rep in Northern New York. And he also selects and purchases show calves and cows for other people. And last week we showed at St. Lawrence County Fair and had champions and reserve champions in the Holstein breed. So he can be very proud of his accomplishments. Professional eclipse cows and heifers throughout the United States. And he is currently showing 5 of his own animals throughout the United States. Believe it or not, this man used to show horses.
Okay, seems to be a very instructive ring judge. Not sure if this is a brown Swiss here. Sure looks like one. It's got heavy feet, whatever it is. This level, they always have young calves, and young calves are easier to handle, although they're still powerful when you have an 8-year-old on the leash or on the harness. No, it doesn't look like he's told her to budge here with the Holstein. Keep your eye on the judge at all times. And obviously we're not the only one interested enough to be videotaping today. We have more relatives showing up. Intensely surveying the situation in some cases. Now, the judge has lined these young ladies up, doesn't mean he has chosen. A young calf, as we said, is easier to handle for these youngsters. But of course, you've had less time to train a young calf. The judge is checking for cleanliness, the fitting and showmanship. And I think it's still fitting is still a part of this. Fitting is how you prepare the animal, and showmanship is how you present the animal. So the animals themselves are not being presented in this category. Later on today, the animals will be judged in their own class. Jerseys against jerseys, and Holsteins against Holsteins, and so on. At this point, It's how well the youngsters present the animals. And let's see if we can hear this guy this time.
What I shared with the youngsters here is it's obvious that they've all spent a good deal of time with their animals. They're getting the basics of the dues down pretty correctly. We're on the end here. Swiss didn't want to cooperate, and I'm not picking on Swiss, but sometimes they're not always the most cooperative animals when they put the brakes on. A noticeable difference in the level. They've had one more year experience than our little gentleman in the last class, and it shows. And I'm sure they'll be ready for bigger things. Today, they all are going to receive blue.
Oh, 3 blues. How about that? 3 blues.
In first place, Adriana Kutcher.
Kutcher's in first.
Emily Lapierre.
Lapierre's second.
Third, Megan Bull.
And Megan Bull in third.
In the next class, these same 3 people, along with Alex Lapierre, we're going in for Clover Bud Championship.
Clover Bud Championship coming right up. Alec Lapierre will come back in to compete. They'll be coming right back, doing a U-turn. Okay, if we are correct, then this would be Emily Lapierre here. Lapierre here. She was the second place finisher. This is for the overall Clover Bud title. This here would be Adriana Kutcher. And the young fella, it would be Alex Lapierre, or Alec Lapierre. And Megan Bull has a brown Swiss that is not in a walking mood today. Maybe she ought to get a saddle and ride that Swiss. The Swiss is just not in a walking mood. Rarely do we see a judge reverse anything, and rarely would we see the novice first year Clover Bud defeat the veteran. But who knows what surprises await us here at the Clinton County Fair 2002 in the 4-H Showmanship Contest. Always nod when the judge tells you something. So sure, I understand. Yep, we'll take care of that next time, Judge. See if you can hear this guy.
These youngsters did a very preventable job. The girl out here with the red hair was top. Just got a little more engaged to her. Her ability, she didn't have command of her effort.
Okay, Adriana Kuchar is going to be the grand champion of the Clover Buds, followed by Emily Lapierre. And I don't think he put him in any particular order. He just called listen to Lawrence Boris.
Our reserve champion, Emily Lapierre.
There we go. Grand champion Kuchar, reserve champion Emily Lapierre. And Alec Lapierre and Megan Bowl get a thanks for showing up. But they've all got blue ribbons already, so they've had a good day already at this juncture.
In the ring, Nathan Bull, Paul Lapierre, Dustin Mullen. In the ring.
Next up is going to be the 9 and 10-year-old junior showmen, and I'll tell you who they are as soon as they get in here. Not sure the order that they are appearing, but the order they were introduced: Nathan Bull, Paul Lapierre, and Dustin Mullen. And so far, a couple of age groups here. We're waiting for the third entry to enter.
Nathan Bull in the ring, please. Nathan Bull.
Nathan Bull appears to be the one missing. So one of these is Lapierre and one is Mullen. This heifer must be from France. Kids don't get a lot of opportunity to compete. But here comes Nathan Bull, but he doesn't have a bull with him. You might occasionally see a bull calf at the showmanship. You're a young calf, but I don't recall that I ever have. It's pretty much a heifer and cow competition. Now, if you're ever wandering around here, we just had some people leaning against the fence, and most of them have left now. And you're coming by the dairy barn, and you peek in, and there's a show going on. Keep it quiet out there, because you don't want to spook these heifers or cows that happen to be in the ring at a given time. This is all new enough. In most cases, the kids have probably brought these animals in here. They have a period of time, or in 4-H and FFA and whoever else happens to have animals here, they do have a period of time allotted to them that They can come in here and walk their animals around the barn, so that when they come in here for the show, it's not an entirely new experience for the animal, at least a semi-familiar environment. Although when they look around and see all the people and hear all the noises that they may not be used to, it can still be a spooky experience for the heifers or the calves or the cows. As the judge moves around your animal, you present your animal based on the judge's location. So as the judge moves, you should be moving the feet of your animal so that wherever he is, he gets the most beneficial view. He gets the best view of what that animal should look like. So you set it up based on the judge's location. And you keep an eye on the judge at all times. Because if you miss a signal, it can be costly. I think I speculated last year. I think 86 might have been the first year, and we covered this Fitting and Showmanship here at the Clinton County Fair. So this would be probably our 18th year of doing this. 17th year of doing this. I started 16 years ago, long before any of these competitors were even on the horizon. That's not when this contest started. That's when we started to cover it. Allison Blaine, who happens to be on the at the scoring table over there, writing down all the information. She's the one who called us and suggested that we cover this. She had at least her older kids were involved at that point. Not sure if all four of her daughters were involved at that point. And the man in the microphone today, Lawrence Bosley, helped us out at the microphone, explaining what was going on, what the judge was looking for. Here the judge is explaining what they did right, what they did wrong, what they could do. You can see this. If a cow is in an environment where there's they're not probably going to be going outside. They're kept in barns, and those barns are sprayed for insects. Flies don't last very long. In order for a cleanliness factor, a lot of these heifers have their tails bobbed at a young age. And that is basically because the tail is there on a cow to swat away flies. And if you can protect it from the flies with a spray in a protected environment, and you no longer need that long tail, and tail is something that gets dirty kind of easily.
A young man on the top, a really good command, had a real good command of his heifer. She moved smoothly around the ring when she stopped. She placed her hind feet correctly when I came the other side. She changed the feet. There's a problem. Those are gave a couple opportunities.
The judge is just one of those low talkers.
Didn't happen, and that was those little things.
He's a low talker. I think they did an episode of Seinfeld about him. A low talker, you can hardly hear. There's fans running. Some of the people have radios.
Mullen, second, Nathan Bull, third, Paul LaPierre. Congratulations.
All right, Dustin Mullen, Nathan Bull, Paul LaPierre are the.
In the ring, Samantha Belrose, Matthew Bull, Stephanie Hostler, Kirsten Irwin.
Okay, so that's the order: Mullen, Bull, and LaPierre. That was the junior showman. The top two will be back. But with the fans running, now they've shut some of the fans off. The occasional radio playing and other noises in the barn. As Judge just isn't talking loud enough for those of us within just a few feet of him to hear. Okay, the order they were read off, and the order they are in: Samantha Belrose, Matthew Bull, Stephanie Hosler, and Kirsten Irwin. Now, how do I know that? Well, I know Stephanie Hosler. It's her. Matthew Bull is the only fella in here. All the Irwins are blonde. And this is the only blonde. So that leaves Samantha Belrose. These are 11 to 13-year-olds. And the top two winners here will compete against Mullen and LaPierre for the overall junior competition at the 4-H Showmanship. And it sounds like they're bringing back the Clover Buds. No, Lawrence is wrong. He's decided not to bring back the Clover Bud champion.
On deck will be Justin Mullen, Nathan Bull, and the results of this class.
How you hold that halter is a big factor in how well you control your animal, but you can be doing everything right, and if you get in here and your animal doesn't want to cooperate today, if the animal doesn't want to cooperate, he just ain't going to cooperate. What a judge will sometimes do, if he has somebody with, particularly these older groups, has somebody with an animal that's balky today or just out of sorts, he might have them switch animals and see how someone will fare with a different animal. That way you don't get overly penalized for your cow or calf or heifer being in a bad mood. That's only in the showmanship category. It doesn't happen when they have the actual dairy show. If it's a dairy show, then your animal better be at its best behavior, because that's it. The animal is being judged at that point. And of course, we've covered Irwins here for many years. A couple of years ago, Katrina Irwin was on the microphone, and for years before that, she was out here in the show ring. She's now a Vermont reporter for WPTZ. Of course, Vermont reporter and WPTZ is kind of being redundant. Why they wouldn't take somebody from Peru and put them to work on the New York side, I don't know, but they're taping this. Katrina Irwin is working for Channel 5 in Vermont, of course. Again, you got to show that animal based on the judge, so you got to be moving those feet. And me tell you what I've seen over the years. Judges like cows. This is, after all, a dairy show. And if you can go out there with a full-grown milking cow and present that animal to its best advantage, then you got to step up over somebody who's presenting a heifer to its best advantage. But you get out here with a full-blown 1,100, 1,200 pound cow, and it can be a little harder to coax when you want to get them going, or you want to get them going. Right now there's dew or some kind of moisture clicking off the roof here. It's not raining, but there's some kind of temperature change going on in the roof here, and it's clicking up there. You can see the cow's ears are up. She hears the radio. She hears other noises, and her ears are up there. She's very concerned about what is going on in this building. And the noises and sounds have a big part of that. Like a horse, you can often tell what a cow is concerned about by its ears, or if it is concerned. So Erwin's having a little trouble here with her big Holstein cow, while Hosler is strolling on the inside lane with her heifer. Now, if you're the other two competitors over there, don't relax. Just saw the judge glance over in their direction. You're still competing even though you're standing there. So if you relax and that judge moves and you don't move your animal, so that the judge has the best view in the house of that animal, then you can lose points. So just because you're not the one making circles, it doesn't mean you can relax. Looks like he's putting Erwin and Hosler, and just because he's lined them up doesn't mean he has made his mind up at this point. He's still looking things over. You got Erwin, Hosler, Belrose, and Bull. And it looks like he's going in that direction. Maybe we can hear him this time, but I doubt it.
Again, another group that's learned their lessons well. The little fine points are what are taking us to the particular spots that they're in today. Granted, the girl at the top handling a cow is a little bigger job a lot of times. Getting them set up, getting them under control. Probably she moves over our second place contestant. A little bit on the cutting of the hind legs, and actually that's what brought us our second over third, was that just setting her animal up in a little better position. All the contestants knew the ages of their animals and the sires. The young man here on the bottom needs to keep his heifer's hind legs just a bit more under her and touch her tail down. We also would criticize the girl in the second spot for maybe needing to take a little more time to touch her heifer's tail down when she's in line. One thing that I would tell all these contestants, even when I ask them questions, which is distracting, try to answer the questions But always keep in mind, you're handling your animal, you still want to present it the best for the judge. So don't lose track of that. But congratulations to all of you.
Alright, so that's the order. The Irwin, Hosler, Belrose, and Bull. So we'll take points off for the judge.
Place, Kirsten Irwin. Second place, Stephanie Hosler. Third, Samantha Belrose. Fourth, Matthew Bull. In the ring, Kirsten Irwin, Stephanie Hosler, Dustin Mullen, and Nathan Bull.
Alright, we're taking points off for the judge because he was talking about Irwin's cow. He said, presenting him. Present him better. Well, that's not a him, judge. And this is a judge that shows cattle throughout the country, not just in New York State. So I think he knows better than that, but he referred to that cow as a him. Okay, this here would be Nathan Bull, or not. Wait a minute here.
On deck, our senior showmanship, 14 years and older.
Wait a minute here.
On deck. Senior showman.
Okay, Dustin Mullen and Nathan Bull. This is Mullen here in front. This is Bull, Nathan Bull. This is Irwin coming back in. And joining her should be our buddy Stephanie Hosler. This is for the Grand Champion Junior Showman. Up next will be the Senior Showman. These are the juniors. The first two, Mullen and Nathan Bull, are 9 and 10-year-olds. Both pretty good sized fellows, probably both 10-year-olds. And the young ladies are 11 to 13-year-olds. Whoop, nap time. Nap time. She was getting some instructions from Ma and Pa over there. They have a traffic jam. There's Irwin breaking out of the pack, followed by Hosler. Tight circle here. Hosler going to try to kick some sawdust on the cow pie that was sitting there. Well, it's Irwin and Hosler at the moment. Here comes Bull with Mullen around the corner. And he's going to bring Mullen around to the front. Let's see here. Let's see. It's a brand new ball game. You can't sit on your laurels here and say, I did a good job to get here. The competition we saw prior to this is kind of like the semifinals, and this is the finals. So just because you won in the semifinals doesn't mean you're going to win here in the finals. So you got to come out here and be just as alert, if not more so, when you're in the championship category. Judges talking to them. This might mean the competition is over. Maybe explain to them where they finished and why. Usually that's what's going on at this point. We'll see. Looks like he's ready to announce his decision. Let's see what he has to say.
Young man here at the top of the class. Holding it pretty well. Pepper out on the walk. Just walked very fluidly.
Dustin Mullen is going to get the top spot. Unfortunately, you can't hear him on the TV. Unfortunately, today we just can't hear the judge, and I can't listen to him and pass along information because I'd be talking while he's talking, and I can't do both. I can't listen to him and talk. So it's going to be Dustin Mullen and Kirsten Irwin reserve. So it's Dustin Mullen with the reserve Kirsten Irwin. That's the Junior Showmanship Championship coming right up. The Senior Showman. Okay, the order that the next group was read off was James Bosley, Jonathan Castine, Mary Castine, Kathleen Irwin, Ashley Mullen. And we'll wait till they're all out there and we'll see what happens here. Yeah, so they're making their way through. Of course, it's two-way traffic out there. As the junior showmen leave the ring. Okay, let's see if we can figure all this out. Okay, this looks to me like Jonathan Castine. It's Jonathan Castine. And let's see, so this would be James Bosley. Looks just like a Bosley. This here would be Irwin, I guess. That would be Kathleen Irwin. Now, does Mary Castine have the blonde hair? I think so. So Mary Castine would be the blonde here. And Ashley Mullen would be the brunette. So that's my best guess there, who's who out here. I'm going to be very surprised if I was not correct. So this will be Mullen. This will be Castine. Notice how they're keeping their eye on the judge at all times. This is Bosley. This is Irwin. And this is Jonathan Castine. And high up on the halter, keeping that cow's head high. The judge hasn't said stop, so continue to walk her around. That animal's head up there. And I don't know why, but that's what's expected. Now I'm not sure if they bring back the junior showman champions to compete against the senior champions for the overall title, but we will find out, since there's only one senior category, 14 and over. They might bring back the junior competitors, the top two, to compete against the top two here. Very pleasant morning. This is probably one of the best mornings weather-wise that we've had. We've had times here when it's, even though it's early morning, it's sweltering hot because there's only so much heat the fans can take out of the barn. They leave the windows open, they leave the doors open as much as possible. But there's only so much heat they can take out, and cows are heat generators. For those of you who are not familiar with the dairy farms, cattle barns do not have heating elements in them. They have ways to cool the place. Even in the coldest days of winter, you'll see fans running to get rid of the heat. Cows, by their breath, give off a tremendous amount of heat, and they rather easily keep a barn heated on the coldest days of the year, and even on those coldest days you'll see the fans running to get rid of the excess heat. So you can imagine how hot it gets without fans and proper ventilation during the summer months. And as we said earlier, today we have temperatures in the 50s overnight, and it may have moved up into the 60s right now, so it makes it a lot more tolerable in here today. The overall temperatures in the 70s, and the daytime temperatures up around the 90s, and it makes it very, very tough in here. Asking Bosley some information. He seems to be asking all of them who the parental lineage is, the age. This cow milking, this old is she? Or, as the judge might ask, old is he? Alright, seems to be rounding them up. Most of the competitive events that I cover, I wouldn't bother me any to referee a basketball game or umpire a baseball or softball game or a soccer game, referee a soccer game. It might be a little tough to run up and down the field in a soccer game, but making the calls wouldn't bother me. But right here would be extremely, extremely tough for me to come out here and try to separate these competitors. And this is why you see these judges sometimes taking an enormous amount of time. He's looking for one little thing that stands out, either in a positive or a negative manner. That just going to give him a reason to put somebody in a particular spot. And while you're sitting here, you can't be sitting in the 4th or 5th spot and say, it's over, I've lost. And you can't be sitting in the 1st or 2nd spot and say, it's over, I've got one of the top positions. Because he may or may not have made his decision at this point. You've got to keep competing until he gets over there and either tells you where you were finished or comes over and finally grabs that microphone, because we've seen lots of judges pull the people out of line after he's put them up there. A lot of ribbons have been won and lost at this juncture right here, but it looks like he is explaining to them what they have done. So he appears at this point, based on what I've seen in the past, to have reached his decision. And see Jonathan listening over. He wants to hear what Mary did right. And he certainly wants to hear what he did right and what he did wrong. Looks like the judge is ready to tell us what he knows. And again, I'll probably be able to hear it, but I don't think the microphone will pick up what he's got to say.
Okay, we're getting a little rough here. Showing are getting a little rough on me. They're
Making it rough on him, he says.
experience is starting to show, and the difference between the shoulders gets narrower and narrower. The living with the girl on top, just how dealt a little smoother, set up a little more desirable in the ring. The girl in the second, I told her she needed to relax a little more. Easier said than done. I don't relax all that much when I'm showing, but that would make it look like she's enjoying herself a little more, a little less of a task, and I think she'll transmit that back to the cow, back to the judge. The girl in the 3rd position, I suggested to her that she not be so rigid and tight, leading her cow. She needs to relax a little more, not hold her up so snugly. Young gentleman in the next placing, I suggested that he slow his cow down a little more, take a little shorter steps with her back legs. It would flatter her legs a lot more. And the young man in the next position, I told him that he needed to be more cognizant of his cow and pay less attention to the judge, try to distribute that attention a little more evenly. A nice job done by all. 2 blues and 3 reds.
2 blues, 3 reds.
First place, Kathleen Irwin. Second, Ashley Mullen. Third,
Kathleen
Mary
Irwin.
Chastain. Fourth, Jonathan Chastain.
Ashley Mullen.
In the ring, Kathleen Irwin and Ashley Mullen.
Okay, now we've got, what we got? Mullen, right? Let's see. I can find my notes.
The junior champion, along with the senior champion, or grand champion.
Okay, they're bringing out the junior and the grand. So this will be Ashley Mullen and Kathleen Irwin. And it sounds like it's going to bring out the junior champions too. So here's the senior champions. I believe it was Irwin and Mullen, but I've forgotten already.
Contact would be Dustin Mullen and Kirsten Irwin.
Okay, Dustin Mullen and Kirsten Irwin should be coming out, or not. What do they do? They have... Okay, I think I figured out what's happening here. Even though they've got only the one senior category, they bring the top two out here and they compete against each other for the overall senior. And then we're going to bring out the same two and they'll compete with the overall junior competitors. So Judge didn't take long on this one. He's going to go Irwin and Mullen again, I guess.
Pretty well said it all. Just a few minutes ago with the by cock your tail would be well advised to go try to get her tail set down. That would be one little item that would help her out a little bit. Both did a fine job and congratulations to the champion.
All right, so it's Irwin and Mullen. Now they'll come in right back for the overalls.
Senior Ashley Mullen.
Now they'll come back to compete with the.
In the ring.
Now we got
Kathleen Irwin, Ashley Mullen.
Dustin Mullen and Kirsten Irwin. So it's we'll see if the Irwins will team up against the Mullins or vice versa here. Once again, a reminder, this is viewer-supported television. And if you've never taken it upon yourself to support Hometown Cable, you should be made aware that the only thing that keeps us going is viewer support. This is what I do for a living, and if you're enjoying these programs, watching these programs, and maybe you should be contributing to keeping them on the air. Hometown Cable, 1477 Ridge Road in Champlain. And keep us coming. This is local television. That's what we do. We all complain about Channel 5 not covering this side of the lake. Well, we cover this side of the lake. So if you appreciate that, send in your support. And I should point out that Channel 5 does cover this side of the lake, but they also spend a lot of time over in Vermont. But they do give this side of the lake coverage. In fact, they've been promoting this Clinton County Fair on a daily basis for the last week or so. Let's see, gonna put Mullen in second. Looks that way. Looks like he's made up his mind. Oh, don't drop the microphone. 4-H Club.
Okay, we're going to stay with our senior winners here for our grand champion. Grand champion will be the girl on top. Reserve will be the girl in the second spot. Fine job done by all. Just a little they're setting up. I don't know. I'm not quite sure whether this young man got a little more relaxed. He decided to give it away to his sister and the other girl before he came in, but he seemed to lose his steam a little bit here today. caution them that this young lady in this round would have distance and would have come ahead of you. Congratulations to the champion reserve.
All right, so it is Kathleen Irwin, followed by Ashley Mullen, and he did point out that Dustin Mullen relaxed in this category, and that Kirsten Irwin is third, Dustin Mullen is fourth. So even though Dustin Mullen had won the prior event, he finished in fourth here behind Kirsten Irwin, because he relaxed a little bit. And that's what we've told you, every time you come out here, it's a whole new ball game. So don't come out here based on what you did last time. You're competing this time. So that's it. Hometown Cable's coverage of the 4-H Fitting and Showmanship at the Clinton County Fair 2002. Congratulations to all the competitors. As far as we're concerned, they're all winners out there. So thanks for watching, and those precious few of you who are supporting Hometown Cable's ongoing efforts. For those of you who didn't move on to the next thing, we're blaming this on Mrs. Blaine here. Allison Blaine's going to take the blame. I got here a little late, so I wrote down all the junior showmen, and she wrote down the senior showmen for me, and didn't write down the alumni. So these are past grand champions. Not really alumni, I guess, just past grand champions. This is Tommy Russell. Looks like an Ashier to me. The cow does, not him. He doesn't look like an Ashier. And this is Rachel Irwin. Another of the blonde Irwins. These are past grand champions.
Contact would be Nathan Ball, Alex Lapeer, and Emily Lapeer with your junior calves.
Junior calves are next, and that's a portion of today's events that we do not cover. We do not cover the actual dairy competition. We only cover this competition because they show people who are being judged. This is obviously a real tough category for the judge, because both of these competitors are past grand champions. So they have reached the pinnacle. Russell's animal had a nature call. That may cost him something here. You gotta try to keep that back from being humped up and keep the tail down. I see Irwin checking her animal, facing Russell moving his animal based on where the judge is. The judge is asking him probably the history of the animal. If they're a full-fledged milking cow, he might even ask them how much milk they're giving. And I'm certainly not in favor of fibbing, but I don't think I'd ever give "I don't know" as an answer. Well, if you give them an answer, make it a believable one. Don't say she's giving 500 pounds of milk a day, because he might find that a little hard to swallow. And don't tell her that he's giving 15 pounds of milk a day either. He probably wouldn't be impressed with that. Okay, you got Russell and Irwin. See how Irwin has situated her cow so that the udder is showing based on where the judge is. The only one she's trying to impress is the judge. Now see how Russell gets his set up. The amount of time it takes to set up. You see, I think he's still in the act of setting up, but the udder wasn't showing this way, so.
Sometimes it's the animal and how well they handle, and it gets a little out of your control. As a leadsman, you give it your best. The young lady is going to win here today because her cow just handled that much better than the young man. And I was thinking on him, I told him he better wait till the kids off on his cow there. But fine job of preparing the cattle, drag well, splitting hairs, both big showmen. Congratulations to both of you.
Okay, so it's Rachel Irwin, the
Champion showman, Rachel Irwin.
champion showman for the past grand champions, and Tommy Russell gets the reserve. So that's going to wrap it up. This is the end of Hometown Cable's coverage of the 2002 4-H Fitting and Showmanship competition. Thanks for watching and for supporting Hometown Cable's ongoing efforts.